Hi friends, it's Lori with Main Street Gardener, and look at this gorgeous clematis that is still blooming. This was a late clematis that I planted, and this little bloom, it just makes my day. So I'm in zone 7B, and there are certain plants, shrubs, perennials that I feel do best to be cut back in the fall. So I thought I'd walk the garden today, show you some things that I'm going to take the hedge trimmers to and just whack them back. I also want to show you some things that I am not going to trim now. And if you're in zone 7B or 7 or even maybe 6 or 8, these plants are probably similar for you as well. All right, so let's get started. I'm just going to show you a few things in the garden. It's also so pretty right now in fall. And then I'm just going to get started working. So I'm going to walk you through the garden first, talk about what I'm going to trim, what I'm not, and then I'll just get started working and try to get this done before the sun starts to go down. Gosh, these early dark days, they kind of hinder your gardening, don't they? All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's start here at the shade garden. There's a couple plants I want to mention. The first is a spirea. Now, this is the spirea. I'll try to find a picture when it was in bloom. I think it's the double play doozy. It's one of the proven winners. It gets the hot pink blooms on it. I have one on both sides of the entrance to the shade garden. And then if we turn around slowly, I have two huge ones right here. Now, I let these stay really large, but this one right here at the entrance to the floral studio is kind of creeping over. It's killing some of the grass. And I know in the spring, it is going to flush new growth and then new blooms. So what I want to do today is just go ahead and trim it back, kind of give it a nice haircut and shape it up. I'll also probably shape this guy up. That way, in the spring, it's just going to flush out. We're going to get gorgeous blooms, and it'll be beautiful. So a spirea, especially the ones from Proven Winners, definitely shape it up. Now, as we walk through the shade garden, I do like to go ahead and clean up my hostas. I'm not going to do that today with the hedge trimmer, but I am going to get out here one day soon and clean these guys up. Now, out here, I have a lot of hydrangeas. Now, hydrangeas are a mixed story. If it is a panicle hydrangea, you can really prune it back anytime you want. Now, the reason that I prune some of my panicles in the fall is if it's a newer plant and the branches are already starting to curve. I do that because if we get ice or snow, it is just going to weight it down. I'm at risk of the branch breaking. I'm also at risk that in the spring, I'm going to have to cut it really short. If I cut this branch about halfway right now, these stems likely will kind of stand up. I don't give it a full prune now. What I do is just correct any really flopping branches. So I would trim this one, maybe a little bit on the others. And then in the spring, before spring, I'll come in and thin it out and I'll do some additional pruning. But today, just going to give it a little shape up, and that's all. My hellebores, of course, I'm not going to touch. I'll clean those up in early spring once the new growth has come out. And you can see already over here, my Sun King Aurelia is already looking awful. So it is time to come out into the shade garden and just cut back the things that are starting to really flop. But the only thing really out here I need to do is maybe a little bit on that hydrangea. And then as we come through, I will be doing the spireas that are right here. So a plant that you really don't want to prune right now unless you have to would be this sweet spire. So this sweet spire, look at the color on this. I recently moved this one, and in the spring it's going to get beautiful white blooms all over it. You really want to trim it after it's bloomed in the spring. Now, if there were some branches that were really sticking out or up high, you can always cut those, but you really want to wait till after it blooms in the spring. All right, let's walk down the driveway, which is where most of the plants are that I need to trim. All right, so let's talk about roses. So you can see this really tall rose bush. She's still blooming. She's kind of leaning. It's become a little bit of a mess. Now, this is a rose that I am going to actually cut back. I'm not going to do hard prune. We don't have any freezing temperatures, but I'm going to go ahead and cut her back because, again, she's falling a little bit. She is at risk if we had snow or ice of really damaging the rose. So in this instance, because she's gotten so tall, I am going to cut her back. I also am inspecting, and I think I've got some serious bugs on these leaves. So I don't know. I'm going to need to look that up. Now, she is a new rose. She is supposed to get tall, but I think for winter it's going to be better until she bulks up to trim her back a little. Now, the second thing, I don't think you can see it because of my shovel, is this grass back here. So you can see it's flopping over pretty bad. This is an example of a grass that I transplanted. It is not upright. It's not going to provide any winter interest. And there is no harm in going ahead and pruning it back. So I'm going to go ahead and take after that today when I do the rose. I do have a beautiful rose hip right there, which is great. Now, these other hydrangeas in here, some of these again are new hydrangeas, and you can see these tall blooms. I may actually just kind of top these off a little bit, and actually I would love to keep that bloom and use it for something. All of the perennials in here, I am going to leave what I can, especially those little grasses, some of this veronica for some winter interest, and the beautiful hydrangea foliage. So nothing that I need to do there in particular. Now, as you look across the way, there is the gorgeous beast of my butterfly bush. It's going to die back on its own. And at that point, over the winter, I can trim it up and kind of cut it back, but I'm not going to touch it right now. It's still gorgeous, and there's no reason to cut it back early. So I'm just going to leave that guy all alone. So one of the main plants that I'm going to cut back today is actually this big baptisia. And I think I have a small one right back there. So this baptisia I left all season. It blooms in early spring, and then I just let it stay as a shrub. You can see we've already had a little bit of frost damage, but it is going to absolutely fry and look ugly. I also have some things underneath that are kind of weeds. I think it's Rosa Sharon pieces, and those really need to be cut back as well. So I'm definitely going to give this guy a big whack today and get it all cleaned up. Now, another one that you can prune a little bit if you need to, and that would be a Rose of Sharon. Now, you can see the leaves on this are getting ready to start falling off, but I did give it a prune earlier in the year. So if you're not going to get a frost, you could do some topping pruning if you needed to. But really, it's best probably to wait on this one until spring, unless you know you're warm enough and you just need to take a few branches off. But baptisia is definitely on the list. Now, as we walk down, these two shrubs are spireas that are bridalries. They bloom in the spring. And so I would wait till after the spring blooms to then trim those, unless something was getting in the way. But this plant is getting beautiful fall color. Now, these are also spireas. They are a different variety than the ones in the back. And I already trimmed these probably about 2 months ago, and they are going to be just fine. And then as we walk down, you can see this totem pole grass. This one is absolutely stunning. We have had to trim on it because it needs to be divided. It gets into the driveway, but the plumes are gorgeous, and I will leave that for as long as I can. Of course, keeping it off the driveway is super critical, but it's beautiful. All right, so those are just a few of the things. If I run into some other things as I go, I'll let you know. But it's time now to get some things cut back and put away for the winter season. Let's do it. So I got both of these cut back, and what it also does is it lets me see I have got Rosa Sharon seedlings coming up all over this plant. Come in a little closer. I've also got violets in the back. So what I'll do on another day is I'm going to have to come out and I'm just going to go ahead and weed as many of these out as I can, which hopefully will help for next year. I may actually also put out some preen, but it's letting me see that I definitely have an issue with those self-seeders from the Rosa Sharon. But I got both of them cut back. Now I may cut them a little bit further back in the spring because they do come up from the ground new, but there's still a lot of hard stems, and so I will work on that later. I also had a little grass over there. I went ahead and trimmed that back as well. It had a little bit of new growth, but I just wanted to get it down as low as possible. Okay, let's go up the hill. Okay, so I got the rose trimmed back. I'm also going to go ahead and take some of this. I don't know what is on that stem, but we're just going to cut it off. I did get that grass cleaned up, and now I'm also going to go ahead and do this agapanthus. It is just going to continue to die back, but it will not provide winter interest. Okay, so another plant that we haven't talked about is going to be a peony. So this is a great big peony, and it's going to continue to die back and brown up. I've already cut back one of mine, but peonies push new growth every year from the ground. And so you want to go ahead in winter and cut it back. It's just going to get mushy and ugly. And in my opinion, it's best to go ahead and cut it back. It's also then going to continue that root development, and you're going to have a beautiful plant in the springtime. So this peony luckily stays kind of pretty for me all season. So, but now it is definitely time to go ahead and cut it back. Now I also have these yellow calyxes. Now if you inherited your yard and you're not sure, certain calyxes are evergreen, and this is one. It is a yellow green calyx, and it is evergreen. So I definitely will not cut that back. And then you can see the beautiful hydrangeas right here. These are the Monrovia ones that bloom so early, and then they get this gorgeous fall color in the foliage and the panicles. And I will leave those till spring because that is absolutely gorgeous winter interest. The other beautiful winter interest is the quickfire fab hydrangea. Let me show you. And I think this sedge is called maybe an Everello, something like that, but you can look it up. It is a yellow. You can even find these at Home Depot. It stays evergreen all year. Now, look at this, you guys. I have a foxglove blooming. This is one that just continues to rebloom and rebloom. It's a reblooming foxglove, and I love it. I also have another peony right here. So we're going to get both of these tackled, but this is the little quickfire, and that fall color, look at that. It's beautiful. She just gets bronze, more and more bronze. I wish I had one planted somewhere where I could just cut on it because I would just love a full arrangement of these. I've tried to snip some from the bottom. I may do a little cleanup so I could bring some indoors for Thanksgiving, but she is definitely my all-time favorite hydrangea. And the fall color, I mean, that's just spectacular. I would actually replace my limelights for little quickfire. I just love it. It's really 4 seasons of interest. You just can't go wrong with it. You don't have to do a lot of pruning. It has those dark, dark stems. It's spectacular. All right, so I am going to cut back these peonies, and I think I have one on the other side of the garden. So I'm going to tackle all 3. and we'll have that checked off the list. So when you cut your peonies back, you can go all the way to the ground. I try to go as low as I can because it's just going to come up with new growth. And so makes it really easy. Now I had a support in here, so I'm going to remove that as well. And what's great is then you can also see any weeds. While I'm here, I'm going to cut back this hosta too. So just kind of make use of my time in the garden. Right. Got both of those cleaned up. I've got one more to tackle, and then we're going to go towards the back of the garden. So one plant we didn't talk about is a vine, clematis, or maybe a honeysuckle trumpet vine. So this is Major Wheeler. You can see it's still blooming. And I have found with the honeysuckle vines and vines like Major Wheeler, you can really prune any time. So if I wanted to shape it up now, I could. It's getting a little crazy. It will keep a little bit of color on it for me. It will also turn into just vines, and it's beautiful in the winter. It's getting these orange berries. I don't think the birds eat those. Maybe they do, but I leave mine. So this 9-bark, it does have little kind of reddish blooms on it, typically in late spring, some maybe in the summer. If you feel like it's getting too tall or lanky, you can cut it back. I think you can cut this one back at any time. The blooms are not the showstopper. You grow this plant for the foliage and the texture, and so feel free. If yours is out of control or you want to maintain the size, then go ahead and prune it. This one is getting nice and tall, and I love it. So I may try to top a few of those because I do want it to continue to bush out a little bit, but I'm not going to do it today with the hedge trimmers. I'm just going to kind of watch it. And if we get a lot of ice or snow, of course, I may need to trim it. I could also be preventative. So it's kind of up to you and what's going to work in your garden. Here, this hydrangea right here is an Annabelle, and it's the big mop head. And I have left it for a long time for some fall color. Probably when I clean out the hostas, I am going to go ahead and give her a shape up. She's just going to continue melting, and I don't enjoy these types of mop head hydrangeas in the winter. I think the panicles look pretty, but these do not. You can already see kind of how ugly it's getting. So I'm going to wait to do that when I do the hostas. I can just get rid of all those yellow mushy things at one time. But let's go ahead and do the spirea, and I think we'll be done for today. All right, friends. Well, that was just a quick walk through the garden, quick cleanup. I think that was in under an hour, but it was good to just get out and take care of some of those things. So I thought you might enjoy thinking about what to cut, what not to cut. I think it's really timely. And it also will give you a lot of peace of mind over the winter, and it will help your garden be ready to regenerate in the spring. I have found in my experience, and it's just in my experience and my mother's, that if you leave everything till spring, it's a lot to clean up. And I have found that some things just really deteriorated and rotted versus being able to be flush with the soil, kind of stay warm and cozy with their roots. My zone stays pretty wet in the winter. Cross our fingers this year we get lots of rain. And I just sometimes get that rot on stems. So I take out what I can, I leave what I can. And I think if you're smart about it, then your garden is going to be beautiful and you're going to be able to enjoy the seasons. I also know that I do not have the time in the spring to clean everything up. So I try to do probably half and half. And I think that is a reasonable outcome. All right, that's going to do it. See you soon. Bye, everybody.